Hello there, welcome to Football Thoughts 360. Season is quite open, very exciting Premier League season. We're looking at very interesting season with Man City, obviously, the league champions, competing for another title for the seventh time under Pep Guardiola. And then you've got Manchester United with a new manager, Amorim, who's also right here trying to, his first game of the season already. He plays Ipswich, 1 goal up. And then you've got Liverpool, who's jumped up the league. Many expected a new manager, Liverpool, to take that important league 3 points, and now with 8 points clear, also leading the chart for the Premier League. Arsenal, one of the teams that many have tipped also for the season, are also on point at the moment. They lost few games, drew couple of games, but they're still in the title race. Perhaps it's one of the most open league we can talk about this season. Before the start of the season, a lot of people predicted that Manchester City perhaps would have won the league, or they would have shown more dominance in the course of the season. But many results coming through have shown that City are not the City of last season. Pep seems to lost for words in terms of explaining the current form of his team. And this is why I'm here to explain where City are, because of certain factors and various reasons why they're here at the moment. So when you look at Man City of old, remember Pep, obviously Ferguson winning 13 Premier League titles. Pep is the one that's drawn very close, not too close, but halfway. He's won 6 Premier League titles in his last few seasons. He's been at Manchester City. He's signed 2 more seasons. Will these 2 more seasons take City up there again, or will they fall, as many say, quote unquote, will they fall in these last 2 seasons? Pep himself has said that if City gets relegated, he's still going to stick with the team. Of course, it's his team. He's with 2 more years signed to the contract. That takes him to 10 years at Manchester City. He hasn't been at the club that much long other than City. With a crop of players you've got Haaland, you've got Kevin De Bruyne, all these players there. But why is City still performing badly in this current run so far? Why? And these are some of the reasons that I'm trying to point out today. The crack actually started last season, not this season. So if you're looking at Manchester City of the current results, it's not because the team is playing bad this season. It's because the crack actually started last season. Is it as a result of Rodri? Not too much of Rodri, because with Rodri or without Rodri, they were still going to face these problems. Yes, Rodri comes into the team, gives the team a lot of steam, or brings a lot of glue from midfield to defense and to attack. He's that kind of player that is able to move in that transition, at the same time as well be a bit more defensive. And so Rodri brings some level of quality to Manchester City. But of course, he's not the only problem. You talk about the defense. Kyle Walker, almost gone past his prime now, is one of the factors as well. Perhaps that's not the main reason. You can also talk about maybe Haaland not being an all-round good footballer, just a goal scorer. Perhaps that's not the main reason. So what are we talking about here? I'm talking about the main reason why City are not really performing this season. Or should they even perform, they will have an up and down season in the course of the season. I honestly believe they're not going to be consistent this season as a result of what the crack I saw started last season. This is because if you watch last season closely, especially from the second part of the season coming, Pep actually struggled to control games. And every time they came across a team that played more possessive football, a team that controlled games more, City a little bit struggled. What they perfected doing from last season, and ever since they signed Haaland in 2022, what they perfected doing is be an effective team where they try to go more direct. They try to find a punch, pass the ball, move the ball quicker, and try to get to Haaland or get into the opponent's final third and be an effective team and win games. So players like Foden, you're not seeing them now because the crack that started last season is what it's exposed the team now. So where is the major crack? The major crack is in the middle of the pitch where you've got Kevin De Bruyne. He hasn't got the legs anymore. He's got experience. He's got the vision. He's got the wisdom. He's got a reading of the game as well. He can pass the ball. He can decide games with movement. And, that quality, he's a top quality. He can always do that. But the reason why he hasn't got the legs anymore, he can't press anymore. He's not pressing that much. Also, he's not dictating the pace in the middle anymore because he hasn't got enough legs now at the moment. He's a bit more relaxed. When he gets the ball, he makes that pass. He can always find those passes in the pockets. That is Kevin De Bruyne now. So that is the major problem City is facing now. So Pep, knowing that from last season, he was quick enough when he had the opportunity to bring back Gundogan from Barcelona, who signed 2 seasons ago. He was quick to bring back Gundogan, obviously knowing that the future of the team, depending on Kevin De Bruyne, was always going to be a very, very problematic season because you can't depend on Kevin De Bruyne as, a couple of years ago, which you would have depended on him, where he was more hungry and more fresher. After his injury, he hasn't been a Kevin De Bruyne of last couple of seasons. So that is where the problem is. Pep has tried, because it's his team, he's tried to always kind of find a supplement to try to control games a little bit here and there. Hence, he signed Doku in to try and play from the wide areas. And if you watch last season, at a certain bit, Doku as a wide player became more of a playmaker in the wide area rather than the midfielders, because there were not a lot of creativity in the middle. So he depended more on Doku, Bernardo Silva, those 2 wide players to create more chances. So now you've got teams like Tottenham, who are trying to play a bit more short and trying to play a bit more long, going a bit more wide as well, controlling games. And you look at that to the Pep of 8 years ago when he first came to City, or 7 years ago when he first came to City, where he would play a bit more tiki-taka, dominate games with Diego Aguero up front, with a striker who is an all-round player, who can be part of what Pep was doing. The style suited him. Yes, he didn't like the style beginning, but with time, he adapted to the style and could move wide, come in the middle, receive the ball, play 1-2 here and there, and then try to run behind the opposing defenders behind them and lob the ball through, or get those passes, killer passes through to find that wide attackers cutting through and creating chances. That City is already dead and gone. With Haaland coming in, City has been transformed into a more direct side. Hence why Rodri is become very, very important to City. So the big problem City are facing now is because they don't have good midfielders to control games in the middle. And if you have Kevin De Bruyne, with that vision, that experience, Kovacic, that vision, that experience, but their press is not there anymore. Because what makes City what it was in the previous seasons is not the ability to be able to pass the ball, but also the ability to press from the midfield. They close you down and they win the ball back quickly. Lately, City can afford to have teams play at them. Now, he rolled back the years against Real Madrid last season in the Champions League in the semi-final, where he went back to tiki-taka, tried to dominate the game with Madrid sitting deep. But of course, in the Premier League, he's always been that manager now, going more direct, trying to find Haaland, creating more opportunities and avenues for Haaland to score these goals. But that's where the problem is coming from at the moment. So Haaland, his all-round game as a striker is not really, really good as an all-round footballer. He's a goal poacher, and so if you give him the chance, he will always score those important goals. As long as the ball comes in the middle, or as long as you create that run for him with the ball, he will always, make use of those chances. But with the level of what City is playing in the middle and lack of control in the middle especially, is where it's causing these problems. I've heard people say, well, the defense are not good. Yes, but City's never, ever had a very, very formidable defense. They've had a defense that's always been good and okay, but it's always because the midfielders they had in the previous seasons, or the hunger of the midfielders in the previous seasons have always been to dominate play in middle and also dictate the pace. Hence, they always play a bit of high line, and you see as Stones trying to play sometimes even as a midfielder, Akanji trying to come forward as well. That's why the defense hasn't really been a bit of a problem in the previous seasons, because of the dominance of these midfielders. One, they are able to press. Two, they are able to gain control. The problem started when Gundogan decided to leave City. So in Pep's words, he said, we will fight to keep Gundogan. This was because he knew that if Gundogan goes, the only player that he's got in the middle to control games was Kevin De Bruyne. And then Kevin De Bruyne going for a long injury has not been the same Kevin De Bruyne we know. Of course, every now and then, he will roll some magic out of his sleeves and show us what a world-class player he is, and perhaps one of the best players that's ever graced the Premier League. So this is one of the issues. He's brought in Kovacic. But when Kovacic has the ball, there's a little bit of something missing. His style doesn't suit City too much. He likes to run more with the ball. Pep doesn't like players that run more in the middle with the ball. He likes players that can control, find a pass. Yes, split passings, making sure his wide players, the 7 and his number 11, are coming into the game as inverted attackers and gaining the balls. So Kovacic is forced to play more as quote-unquote a midfielder that suits Pep's style of play. And so that is affecting his performance. Unlike when he was at Chelsea, where he used to play like Casado, or he used to play like N'Golo Kante, where they break and, they go on the transition and try to create opportunities and chances from those positions. So Pep, yes, where's the future for Pep, after these last 5 games that they've lost? Now the future, all is not lost. It is still his team. He knows what to do with this particular team. He knows how to bend players in. He can bend some players in to try to gain results. With last season, because they were scoring very high number of goals, a lot of people did not pay attention to lack of control from Manchester City. And this season it's become more evident game after game that when the Bernardo Silvas, when Doku does not gain control of the ball, the midfield becomes very porous, hence exposing the weakness of this defense and the very young, amateur defense. And then you've got, obviously, Walker and a few of them that are not in form as well. And so that is also affecting the general play of Manchester City. So you've got a press that is missing in the middle. You've got a control that is missing in the middle. And then you've got a porous defense that is affecting the whole team. Pep has signed for 2 more years. That takes his number of years is City to 10 years. So where's the future for Pep in this next 2 years? I think it's going to be one of the most challenging 2 years of Pep's career. Why? Because you've got a young Chelsea team that are very, very fresh and hungry, and they're doing almost everything right. The only thing missing in this Chelsea team is the fact that they haven't got a prolific striker or a very out-and-out striker that can, with a second of goal instincts, just can score goals just even with eyes closed. That's the only thing missing in this Chelsea team. They're doing everything right in transition defense, right back, left back, midfield. How they move the ball very quickly, break. They're doing almost everything right. Defense well, presses high. But the only thing missing is just that final man to finish the balls. Yes, Jackson, it's okay, but Jackson is not the man that Chelsea needs at this moment. He's in great form, I must say, but Chelsea needs a prolific number 9, maybe an Osimhen, maybe who knows, another striker that's going to come in, but they need a prolific number 9 to be able to score more goals. And that, for me, I see Chelsea finishing in the top 4 this season. And so in this next 2 seasons, the average, age of this Chelsea team is probably around 23, 24 max. And so the team is more fresher, more hungrier, more younger, have the legs, the ambition is there, new manager wants to win. And so it puts Chelsea right in there. And so that ticks the box that Chelsea is going to be a great competitor in the next seasons to come. So where does that put Pep's dominance in the Premier League? If you look at this team now, you know that it won't be easy for Pep to beat City. Perhaps this Chelsea team can beat City anytime, any day. And so that is also one of the key factors that Pep is going to face. You've got Onslaught that's coming to Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool, I just think this season still got some chance here. And they're playing amazing with massive 8-point gap. But I still think in the second round, they're going to struggle a little bit here and there. Will they be able to win the league? But in the next 2 seasons, Liverpool will beef up. And when they beef up, it's going to be tough for Pep now. Unlike before, when you knew Pep was going to any grounds and you could tell, well, they're going to smash them 4 goals, 5 goals. It's not going to be the same. Then you've got an Arsenal that, of course, this season they've lost some games, but you seem to have a sense of feeling all they need is a little bit edge just to over the line, and Arsenal can be that team. And so you've got these 3 teams already in line. Amorim, for me, is a manager that I've championed for Man United for a couple of seasons now. I've said that Amorim should come to Man United because, he's a manager that comes with identity, and that's what United needs. United needs identity first, and they will start winning. Because once they start playing to his style of play, it will be very quite beneficial to this particular Man United team. So I see Man United in the next 2 seasons becoming a very, very strong force. So having put all these together, you've got a young, fresh Chelsea team that is ready to take on City. You've got an Arsenal team that is not scared to go to Etihad or play City any day. You've got a Tottenham team that has always had great results against City. You look back, or even City winning or beating them, it's been narrow win. Now you've got a Man United team that is more hungry with a fresh manager, and I believe Amorim will transform this team. Keeping a close, compact in midfield. Rashford is going to benefit under him. I think Casemiro is going to do well as well. Kobe Menu is going to come back from injury. They're going to sign more players now with identity, because Pep had his way in the last few years, because Man United, one of the strongest competitors, that's supposed to be the strongest competitors, always struggled against Pep because the change managers, no style, no identity. But with Amorim, there is going to be a style. He seems to know what he's doing. I've watched him in Sporting, and he's a very, very good manager. In my opinion, I think he is the man for Man United. And I can vouch out for the first time that this manager will help Man United go places. And so putting all these factors together, I think Pep is going to struggle in the next 2 seasons. I predicted 2 months ago that they were going to struggle this season and lose games. I didn't predict they were going to lose 5 games in a row. I only said they were going to lose a lot of games, not because seasons to seasons they are not able to lose games, but the manner of what I saw and the crack I saw last season was one of those that I felt that now this City team will have a lot of problems in this current campaign. Yes, will they come back at some point? Yes, they will get some results here and over there, some results there, but they're not going to be consistent. And it's going to be difficult going to all these 4 venues or 4 matches away from home, especially the top 4 teams. Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Liverpool. It's going to be hard. And Tottenham, it's going to be hard for them now, coming to these grounds now. And so people say, well, Pep's style has been found out by people. I don't really think so. I just think that he hasn't got the midfielders to control the games. They don't have the press there, and so it's always going to attack. It's always going to be from Bernardo Silva and Doku now. So you've seen Doku in the last few seasons. In the last season to this season, he's become almost the wild card for Pep. And he depends so much on him. Why he's not even playing Grealish? Because of Doku, the importance of what Doku brings to his ball control now. But that obviously is not enough to keep City competing. People say, oh, it's a blip of the season. No, it's not a blip. It's going to resurface even more in the course of the season. People say, oh, but they miss chances in the games. Yes, so do the rest of the other teams miss chances in the games. You're going to see how many teams will start dominating City in the course of this season. And that's when you will know, and you go back to second part of last season, and even though they were scoring goals, you're going to see how much ball control they've lost from last season to this current season. What they did last season was an effective team that, even though, yes, they lost control, were effective in getting results and scoring goals. And that was very important. But now you've got teams that are dominating City, but at the same time as well, are taking the chances. And that's where the problem lies. A lot of teams have signed strikers. Some of these young strikers have gained experience over the last few seasons. And so they're playing on a different level now. So having put all this together, I believe that the next 2 seasons, or the next 2 years contract extension signed by Pep, will be one of the most difficult 2 years of his life. And I think that he's not going to be as much successful in the next 2 seasons to come. Thank you. You can also subscribe to my channel, Football Thoughts 360. Weekly, we're going to drop content every week. So you can just go to YouTube and subscribe, Football Thoughts 360. Thank you for watching.